Okay, so next example. Yeah, in Bootstrap, there are a set of features that we get, and let's talk about. Let me back up for a second. So, in general, there's nothing that Bootstrap gives you that you could manufacture from scratch. In general, but you don't want to because it does a lot of work for you, and it's just saving time. Two of the things that it's doing for you are A, it's actually behind the scenes finessing the nuances between different browsers, which in our class doesn't really matter because we're all using Chrome. So that issue is really not relevant to the exercise. The other thing that it does is it gives you some neat style, and we'll get to an example later, which are things like nav bars and buttons and stuff that look cool. But for now, we're going to talk about a feature of Bootstrap, which is a version of responsiveness based on screen size. Do you remember in the last class we did that exercise where the background changed on the widths, and we set up, I think, 3 using the medias, and we actually chose our own pixel size? Within Bootstrap, they have a default of 4 pixel numbers that map roughly to big desktop, medium desktop, tablet, and mobile. And you actually use these 2-digit letters to represent what you want. XS, extra small, SM, small, MD, medium, LG, large. They map to those pre-baked 4 sizes. So in this example, we're not going to make the background color change. That one was the last week's example. In this one, what we're going to do is say this. You have like a e-commerce shopping cart product catalog, and you've got product 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the screen that goes down 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it wraps and wraps and wraps. But when that same content is displayed on a smaller window, you just want them to go down vertical. So that at the smallest window, they'd only see 1 across, but down. If they had a medium, they might see 3 across, but the excess go down. So this is essentially taking a table, a grid, and Bootstrap has this concept of 12, thinking in 12s. I think it was part of your homework, or there's a thought that's coming up in your homework, which is the idea of a wireframe, that you would start by just penciling out boxes that lay out your general page purpose. And then within each of those boxes, you then populate them with their infinite stuff. So Bootstrap has this concept that you look at the world through 12s, and then you might have 12 boxes across. You might have 3 boxes that represent size 4. They add up to 12, but the idea is that 12 is left to right. Any division under that is a fraction of that, down into 12s, 1/12. Make sense? All right, so let's look at this example, which is 12 divs, left to right, small, that if you had a big screen, you would see all of them left to right. But on a small window like a mobile, you get 1 across but 12 down. But it's essentially the same HTML page where the numbers represent your HTML content. That doesn't change. It's just that the browser knows to re-render differently depending on mobile or tablet or small monitor or big monitor. So what this is saying is this. If I'm looking at the page through a large monitor, that div will occupy 1/12 of the width. But if I'm looking at the same line on a phone, this one line will occupy all 12. 12 divided by 12 is 100% of the screen. Okay? This is going to sink in over the next hour. It's not going to be obvious right up front, but the whole concept is you're thinking of the width of your screen in fractions of 12. I mean, it could have been, easily could have been tens, and then it would be just 10%, right? but it's 12. So I guess your watch is 12 hours. I don't know where the 12 came from, but does anybody know where the 12 came from? It works. Close enough. Okay. So when I look at the content, okay, so depending on the size of the screen, they should go across on a big screen, but at the breaking point that the CSS is set to, which I forget what it is, at some point it's going to decide to go vertical, right? If it's bigger, it's going horizontal, which is kind of weird because I don't even see the edge of my browser. Let me get my browser in here. Oh, which is funny because the monitor itself is so small, it's falling under the category of like a tablet or something. But if it's wide enough, it'll go horizontal. And it's small, it's going to go vertical. And the reason for that, make it big again. All right, the reason for that is this style that says this column width is 1 out of 12 only matters if the screen size is LG or greater. And if you look at the Bootstrap documentation, that equates to a specific pixel size. I think it's 800 pixels, but we'll look up before end of the day. I'll show it to you. As long as the browser is at least LG, then this represents 1/12 of the width. As soon as it gets as small as this SM, this now instantly flips into 12 out of 12, which is now 100% of the width. Okay, so this is your exercise. Okay, you're going to make 12 divs. Make use of copy paste. The content is 1 through 12. I'll just leave this up here on the screen so you can see it. So the CDN. Okay, so does everybody have Slack?
Yes.
The last day of class, I slacked a fragment into general. It just says code fragment. Copy and paste that code fragment because it has within it the CDN that you need. So here it is. Don't type it though. It's way better to, and maybe I can just re-slack it. This is what goes into the head. There's different reasons why you may see examples where they put the script at the bottom. But let me slack it real quick. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. This is a new file, a brand new file called responsive bootstrap.html. Yeah. Okay, so if you have Slack, you should see this. And that obviously would need internet. So if your internet's broken, let me know. This is the one example tonight that needs internet, as well as the quiz at the end. Right? You want to walk around and see? Yeah. Anybody? Raise your hand if you need help.
So you just want us to copy and paste that?
Yeah, copy and paste the part I slacked to you because that's stuff you don't want to type. That's really not what you're learning. It's more of the div stuff is what you should be learning. So copy and paste the Slack part. And I only gave you the head. It needs to have HTML around it, and it needs its own body tag. I only gave you a fragment, which was the head part, or the